Fantasy, a series common to the world of fiction, but surprisingly something that we rarely see outside of the isekai genre when it comes to light novels. Today, I'm going to look at Unnamed Memory, a romance fantasy title by Kuji Furumiya and artwork by Chibi, published by Yen Press. That Man and His Manga. Hello and welcome to That Man and His Manga, the series where I save the world via reading manga, and sometimes light novels. If you like what I'm doing, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and today we're going to look at Unnamed Memory. Unnamed Memory follows the story of a young crown prince named Oscar. When he was young, he was cursed by the Witch of Silence, and he's grown up knowing that no matter who he takes as a bride, they will eventually die. All of his children will die, and his wife will never be able to conceive any kids. In order to try and combat this, he seeks out the fifth witch, a witch that lives in an incredible tower. He trains diligently for that day, until one day he eventually starts to climb the tower. The witch has left quite a few interesting traps and challenges for Oscar, but he manages to overcome them, and soon he comes face to face with the beautiful witch Tinashe. Oscar normally thinks that witches are old, wrinkly, haggard, ugly things, or so the stories go. But this witch is beautiful, and he very quickly becomes head over heels for her. And so she grants him one wish. Oscar, being Oscar, the crown prince, normally gets everything that he asks for, and he asks for her hand in marriage. Why look for someone to break the curse when she's going to have enough magic power to withstand it? Tinashe rejects Oscar outright, but does agree to a secondary request. Spend a year in his country researching the curse and look to find a way to break it. And maybe, just maybe, she might change her mind about the marriage proposal. Because of the way Unnamed Memory has been written, this allows the series to flourish rather well. We get to learn about a lot of the day-to-day lives of the people living in the castle. We learn a lot about the mages, we learn a lot about the knights and their training. But we also hear around the castle, we know of different things far and wide. We know there's a few other countries. We know that there's some mysterious lakes of magic. We know of other witches. We know of other countries and some of the dark, evil things they're getting up to. But with the way this is told, with it being episodic and one of the characters living for, well, a lot of years, we also hear a lot of the history of the characters, the history of the world. We know Tinashe, she's met Oscar's great-grandfather, and it's been possible that they had some kind of romantic relationship. But this only fuels things for the better. We hear about what has gone on in the past, but it's not all revealed. It's not all revealed straight away. There are secrets and there's a lot of interesting things going on. Enough to keep you wanting for more. When we're talking about the characters, we need to look at the two main protagonists. Tinashe, she's very carefree, she's very spirited, yet strong-willed. She's, for most people, the perfect woman. However, there's a lot of sadness around her. There's a lot of dark, mysterious past that we are just scratching the surface on. However, as you can expect, things are slowly, very slowly starting to reveal themselves. We start to understand what she's done in the past, the relationships between Oscar's grandfather how she protected and saved the world. The relationship between her and the other witches. Some she'd call friends, others enemies. But also relations with other characters, other countries. An all-powerful witch, Asuka's not going to be the first one who's asked for her help. But this works. This really works for her character. We get a mysterious beauty who, let's face it, is going to appeal to a lot of fans of fantasy. On the other hand, we have Asuka, the Crown Prince. Not an isekai character, and that works. In fact, he's quite a serious character. Now, I'm not going to lie, he's serious in the fact that he's a Crown Prince. He has to do right for his country. But he's quite greedy, and one of the things I really didn't like was how every other page was him basically going, let's get married, and she's just like, no. Let's get married. No. Let's get married. No. It does start to grate a little bit on your nerves, to be honest, but it doesn't detract from the story. We know this is a romance. We know that there's going to be some connection between these characters, especially when it's revealed that the one who owns the blade may end up having to kill the witches. There are numerous other characters, including Lazar, Asuka's right-hand man and childhood friend, and Al, the leader of the Knights. In fact, I felt that a lot of characters got introduced specifically for one chapter, and then we didn't necessarily see others for quite some time. This is a little bit of a mixed bag. For a lot of the characters, I felt that we didn't get enough of them. At least not enough to make me really care about them. But they don't detract from the story in any particular way. They're just kind of there as extra characters in this interesting world. And it works. It does work. The focus is on the two leads, but the other characters, they're not bad. They're just kind of there to do their job or do their part. But they don't necessarily exceed any expectations. Unnamed Memory worked for me in so many levels. Now, I'm not going to lie, it was a lengthy read. At nearly 300 pages, this feels more like a novel than anything of a light novel, which is both a positive and a negative. A lot of people I've spoke to when discussing this series have admitted that they give up on it after the first 100 pages or so. I'd recommend keeping at it. The first few chapters are a little bit slow, but we're just getting introduced to a lot of the characters. In here for the long haul, to be honest. But each chapter is episodic, which means that we are getting some things a little bit different. One of the early chapters is about a murder mystery, something that I really didn't realise I wanted to see more of in a fantasy setting. Other chapters include a group of knights going to slay a divine beast, or even just some general musings around the castle. For example, Asuka might go visit one of the other witches, or Tinashe might just bond with some of the other mages in the castle. Or maybe we'll see some family members try to get their revenge on Tinashe and Asuka. It's quite interesting the way it's all played out. In fact, it felt that I'd read a lot more than was actually in here. I felt that I'd read an epic fantasy, although a little bit more relaxed. While there are some fights in here, the fights seem to go on for a few pages at best. But that's not bad. The combat is rather interesting, and the world has been built up in such a way that we can at least appreciate what we are going to get. Unnamed Memory is honestly a fun title. It's one that I didn't expect anything of. However, I did hear a lot of great deal of hype surrounding this one, and I wasn't disappointed. It was a nice start to 2021, and you know, I really enjoyed my time with it. While it did take me a while to get through it, I don't regret reading it. And what started off as me just thinking, oh, you know, I'll try it, but I probably won't think much of it. I'm now really looking forward to the next volume, which will be available in around March 2021. Yen Press are the publisher, so if you do like this, make sure you go check them out. I'll leave some links in the description on where you can pick up this particular title. For me, I would recommend it. Stick with it, at least give it a try. Try and stick with it though. It's one that I feel that the longer you stick with it, it will be incredibly rewarding. And I think it's going to be one that, once it gets its anime adaptation, it'll be one that becomes incredibly unpopular.